Hey there, fellow comic fans. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today I'm here to celebrate the launch of my latest Kickstarter, the Crimebusters Volume 1. And as always, when I do these live streams, I'm having technical issues, so I'm running a little bit late. Still just putting my shoes on here, but really excited for this one. This has been 5 years in the making. It's been just about 5 years exactly since I started working on the first issue of Crimebusters, and my first ever comic. It was last 5 years ago in October is when I first went to Mice. I was just starting to do the first drawings for the first issue, and here we are 5 years later. I've got 5 complete issues of Crimebusters out and my first trade, so I'm really excited for this opportunity. I'm really excited to share this with you. So we launched earlier today. Kyle, thanks very much for joining me. I was just saying that as always with these StreamYards, I'm having some technical issues, so I'm still just kind of getting ramped up here, but we launched earlier today about 10:15 in the morning. We've had a good first day, so I'm going to try and get my screen working here so that I can show you the page, and we can talk about the latest Kickstarter here. Kickstarter's being a bit of a pill right now. I'll figure it out here at some point. And just like every piece of technology that I have has gone haywire here. And right now it's Kickstarter, which normally allows you to, there's usually a search bar right at the top where you can search for what you're looking for, and all of a sudden it's not there. So let me find it. See if I can. Here we go. Finally, that's working. Okay. All right. Sorry for the technical issues here. There's always something, right? But so we launched just about 10 hours ago now, and we're almost at $900. Let me share with you the screen here so I can show you this. So here we are, and I don't need to see that. And as I was saying before, my computer exploded. Crimebusters #1. This is my first trade collection, which is really exciting. It's just going to be so cool for me to have a book on my bookshelf that I created. But also I know there's a lot of people that wait for the trade. I get people at conventions when I'm able to go to conventions that ask me about the trade. Like, they don't want to buy the individual issues, they want the trade. So I'm really excited to have this. We just got a backer here, which is awesome. And I've tried to really make this a cool trade experience for everybody. So like, one thing that I did is when I first was working on Crimebusters, I've talked about this before, but first 3 issues I did in black and white. Partially it was for the cost. And that was because I'm colorblind. I didn't think I could color myself. I knew I'd have to hire someone. So I did the first 3 issues in black and white before I switched to color with issue 4. But for the trade, I have had my colors go, and I've hired my colors to color the first 3 issues. So the trade's going to have the full Crimebuster series in full color for the first time. In the Crimebuster 80th anniversary special, I did reprint issue 1 in color, but issues 2 and 3 have never appeared anywhere in color. And this is the first time you'll be able to get the whole story in color. And it is a very different experience. I'm a fan of black and white, and I like, those comics that I did, but it's a totally different experience reading it in color. Particularly because, I was sort of learning what I was doing in terms of drawing in those first couple issues. And I think the color really helps sort of paper over some of my limitations in those first couple issues, but I think the stories are still good, and they look better than ever. So I'm really excited and really happy with how it looks. And as I said, it's just the culmination of all the stuff that I've been working on for the last 5 years. So to finally be at this place now is just really exciting for me. And it's also exciting, like when I see the people that have backed me in the past coming back, it makes me feel good, because obviously they seem to like the stories enough to continue to read more stories. I've got some backers that were here with the first issue that have bought every issue and are now buying multiple copies of the trade. And it's just I just feel very humbled and grateful, and just excited to get this out. So I'm just going to show the Kickstarter here. It's a very simple Kickstarter compared to most of mine, because it's a trade. There are 3 versions. There are 2 variant covers and the regular cover, but I don't have like all the different versions that I normally do. So like there's only a few reward tiers. It's very streamlined. Let's see. Kyle asks, any chance of a Crimebuster, Mythbuster, Dave and Buster's, Buster Brown, Buster Douglas, Ghostbusters crossover? No. So the answer is no. I mean, just strictly for copyright and legal reasons, I'm afraid I would not be able to do that. However, if you want to write fan fiction about this, I certainly encourage that. Let's take a look here at the Kickstarter page. So we start off with the cover for the trade. And basically what I did was I took the image from the cover of issue 2, which I drew, and used that for the book cover. But I changed, obviously, the trade dress. I gave it this sort of red, line with box and the red logo. My inspiration here is the classic Choose Your Own Adventure covers from the 80s. When I was growing up, I actually wasn't a big fan of Choose Your Own Adventure. I just didn't think like the stories nearly as much as I liked the TSR Endless Quest books. But those are sort of iconic designs. There will be, with Crimebusters number 7, one of the variant covers is going to be a straight homage to those Choose Your Own Adventures. But that was sort of my inspiration for this cover, for the regular cover for the trade. And here I'm explaining to people that haven't read the series what it is. Fans of like Scooby-Doo and Nancy Drew, the 3 Investigators was a big influence for me. Archie's Weird Mysteries, like those are all some of my influences. And so I think a lot of people will see what it is. They'll be able to tell right away what the tone and the feel of it is. Here's just a little image from my cover of issue 3. And then I talk what I just said here, the who's gonna like it. And then I've got my sample pages. Big Trixie Trouble in Little China homage cover coming soon. Hadn't thought about that. We'll see. I have to say that even though that came out right, at the height of my youth, I think that came out when I was 13. Never really cared for that one, but I haven't seen it since the 80s. I might appreciate it more now. But you never know. I'm planning to do 30 issues. They're all gonna have a bunch of variant covers. So there's all sorts of homages coming from places expected and unexpected. So wouldn't rule it out. I'll think about it. So, with the sample pages, it's always a question of what exactly you want to show. I didn't want to spoil the stories, but more importantly, like there's 5 different stories in here. There's over 175 pages of stories, and I wanted to have something from each of them. But I was like, man, if I do my usual like first 3 pages to give like the tease for the mystery, there's going to be 15 pages of samples here on the page, on the Kickstarter page. I thought that was a little too much. So I went with 1 page from each that just sort of gives you the flavor of the series. So we have this scene here where Chuck and Trixie find the museum curator's been knocked out by this cult, the Knights in Yellow. That's from issue 5. We got to have the scene from issue 2 where Trixie's trying to get into the house because there's someone yelling for help, and when she gets in, she finds the ghost bride. And then this is from issue 3 where Rasputin, the mystic, casts a spell on Chuck. As you can see here at the end of the page, whatever he did with his magic spell has sent Chuck for a loop. Issue 1, we have the sequence where they go down the secret staircase to find what's buried beneath the cursed church, which was one of my favorite pages. I have a lot of people that mention this page in particular, that they like it. It's also unusual. It has so much text on it, but I was trying with the first issue in particular, a lot of different techniques, things that I thought were cool from different issues. And I'm a big Bronze Age fan. And there were certain writers in the Bronze Age that would do, not just your straight comic pages, but they'd have prose and text like integrated in an interesting way. So I tried to do that. And then every issue I try and do some cool double page spreads, or almost every issue. So I have this one from issue 4 where they're being menaced by the Krampus. And I might, before the end of the Kickstarter, add another one that I'm working on, getting ready for this. But just a sample of the 5 different stories and some of the different elements and storytelling things that you can find in the Crimebusters. And hopefully, people will like that. Then I have a little bit of a reward spotlight. So let me show you the rewards. Kickstarter recently, they've been making a lot of changes to try and make the experience better for people. And some of them I think actually have. If you scroll here on the right side, they now allow you to put the images with the rewards. So it's much easier to see what it is you're getting. Right. So you have the digital edition is $20 for the PDF. And again, it's over 175 pages of stories. So, and usually as stretch goals, I'll do thing where I'll add bonus pages to the PDF. So the PDF version will probably be longer if we can hit our goal and get some stretch goals. But we got that. And then there's the regular edition. Now with the individual issues, the variant covers are sort of limited quantity, and so they're premium variants that cost more. But in this case, for the trade, it's going to be the same price for all of them. So it's $33 plus shipping. So we have the regular edition, the Trixie's Mysteries variant, which I'll show you a bigger version of this in a little bit, and the Boy Comics variant, which again, I'll show you in a second. I'm pretty happy with how that cover came out. There's also the digital bundle. And so that's for people that have not read some of my previous stuff. This gives you the digital PDF edition of the Crimebusters Volume 1, but it also, you get the PDF versions of everything else I've done. So Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam 1 and 2, the Crimebuster 80th Anniversary Special, which does also have Crimebusters #1 in it. But in addition to that, it's got almost 70 pages of remastered Golden Age stories, and then Quest #1. So this is just for new readers who want to catch up on everything. You can get it all at once in this PDF bundle. And then we have the same thing if you're a physical collector. So the physical bundle has the regular version of all of the comics that I've done. It's $59 plus shipping. So there's a really big discount, actually, if you get them all at once. But it's got, again, the same things: the Crimebusters Volume 1 trade, the 80th Anniversary 100-page giant special, Cthulhu vs. Uncle Sam 1 and 2, and Quest #1. And then finally, there's a set of all 3 editions of Crimebusters Volume 1. So if you want to have all 3 trades, you can pick that one. So I see a bunch of people joined us since, it's hard for me to see the chat box while I'm on the other tab scrolling. So I see a bunch of people have joined us. First of all, thank you all, everyone. Stephen Trantor says, woohoo. I totally agree with your wooing and your hooing. Thanks very much for joining me. I was just going through the Kickstarter page and showing the various rewards, and I was about to show the variant cover. So if anyone has any questions about, well, anything at all, but if you have any questions about the Kickstarter, about the rewards, about the stories, about the characters, or about any of the comics that I've done, just ask. We're going to be here for another 45 minutes, so I've got plenty of time to answer your questions about everything. And I really appreciate everybody joining me. And I was just talking about the variant covers. So for every issue of Crimebusters, one of the sparks for the series is that there was a Golden Age series called Boy Comics that I'm a big fan of, and Chuck Chandler, Crimebuster, was a character from the Golden Age who's in the public domain, and so I decided to basically use that continuity as a jumping off point for the Crimebusters. So I wanted to do a variant cover every issue where I have the original logo from his series Boy Comics, and continue the numbering. So I then decided to also do with the other main character, Trixie, who's my homage to like Nancy Drew and Trixie Belden and those sort of girl sleuths. Do a variant cover for every issue that looks like a Nancy Drew book cover. So I have a lot of readers that only buy the Boy Comics variant. They only buy the Trixie variant. So I'm doing the same with the trades. So you can get the trade. And so here's the cover for the Trixie's Mysteries Volume 1, The Deepening Darkness. This has the same cover as issue 5, which is by Len M. And I essentially just love this cover so much that I wanted to use it again, because it's just like, when you see this cover, you know exactly what you're getting. And it's just a great image of Trixie. I just really love it. And then the Boy Comics cover is looks like this, and I drew this as it's an homage to not everyone may be familiar with this, but it's Jim Steranko did a series of posters for Marvel. I think it was in 1970, and there's a Captain America poster he did that's super cool that has Captain America in this pose. And so this is my homage to that Jim Steranko Captain America poster. But I drew it so we've got all the old Boy Comics covers from the Golden Age in the background, and he's sort of smashing through, just busting right out of the Golden Age into the present day. And then I put down at the bottom, for Golden Age fans, so they'll know what they're getting, is collecting issues 120 to 124. The original series ended with 119. So the Boy Comics variants of the stories that I'm putting out, like, they start the numbering with 120. Kyle says, I saw first print of Hardy Boys 5 at the bookstore the other day and now regret not picking it up. I love those sorts of things. Anytime I see a Trixie Belden novel or a Three Investigators book, which is rare for some reason, if I'm at a used bookstore or an antique store or something, if I see those, I pick them up. And it's funny that you mentioned the Hardy Boys. I might have mentioned this before, but the Hardy Boys entered the public domain on January 1st of this year. And Crimebusters number 6 will have the Hardy Boys in it. It's a short sort of cameo. I already had the story sort of plotted out when I found out they were going to be in the public domain, so I didn't have a lot of space to put them in, but I did find an organic way to get them in the story. So there's going to be a couple pages of Hardy Boys action in Crimebusters number 6. And now I'm just waiting for Nancy Drew to enter the public domain, which is coming up pretty fast, because she'll be entering the domain in 2025. So it's just like getting pretty close now, 15 months. So at some point in the near future, I haven't quite figured it out, but I definitely want to do a Trixie meets Nancy Drew crossover. Kyle, I know you were joking about all the crossovers earlier, but that's one that I'm definitely planning on doing when I can, which will be another year and a half. But I definitely want to do a Trixie meets Nancy Drew comic, because I just think it'll be really cool. So those are variant covers, and then I just have a little bit more here on the rewards spotlight about the various rewards, just explaining exactly what's in the Crimebuster Comics bundle, for people that may not be familiar with the other comics I've done, and then a spotlight on some of the add-ons that I really want people to know about. I love the trading cards, so I wanted to spotlight the trading cards. I've got the 11 by 17 prints, which I think I'm selling pretty cheap. The set of 5 is just $30, so they're $6 each plus shipping. I shipped them in a really solid, thick cardboard tube. So I rolled them up, put them in a tube, and that tube, you'd have to drive over that with a backhoe to break that thing. Like they'd really have to intentionally smash it. It's almost impossible to break. And then I'm doing sketch covers. I have blanks of Crimebusters 1 still left, but in addition to that, I have a bunch of blanks that I did for Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam #1. So if you want a sketch cover drawn by yours truly, I've been working more with markers. Before I was doing colored pencils, but I like the marker look. It looks more comic booky with the brighter colors. So I'm doing a marker, and I can draw whatever you want on either of those. And then I'm bringing back the fan club membership kit for people, because I wanted to create that, so, sort of my homage to those fan clubs from the 40s and 50s. So I wanted the Crimebusters to feel like, the experience to feel like it would have been if you were, reading these detective, stories in the 50s and you wanted to join the Nancy Drew fan club or something. This has a bunch of cool stuff in it. There's some stickers you can only get here. Then there's like a replica of Trixie's press pass and Chuck's Junior Crimebuster badge, and some prints, and you get a set of the trading cards and a bunch of cool stuff. It's just something that I mainly do for fun. But people seem to like it, so I'm happy to have brought that back as well. And that's pretty much it for the Kickstarter page. Here's some people talking about the series and showing off their copies of Crimebusters #1. There's a little thing about me and why I'm doing the series, and while I love making the comics and telling these specific types of stories. And then I've got all the like nitty-gritty details, like what the money's for, which is mostly shipping, because it's extremely expensive to do print on demand these days for a print run of this size. The cost of paper went up so much during the pandemic that it's like, before the pandemic, I had priced this out, and it's more than twice as much now to print one of these. So it's very, very expensive to actually print these. So almost all the money that I'm asking for the Kickstarter is just to print them. I did colorize issues 2 and 3, as I mentioned, for this. So there's a certain amount that's going to go to the colorist, but most of it's just printing it, because it's so expensive now. Like it's very expensive to print at the small print runs that I'm doing for something like this. And then here's my fulfillment timeline, which should actually be out pretty fast, because I'm putting right now the finishing touches on some of the coloring for issue 2. And that's it. That's all I have left to do. So I'll have that done hopefully in the next week or so. And then when this Kickstarter ends, I'm hoping I'll be ready to basically just send it right to the printer within a week or 2 after that, and get everyone the rewards very quickly. I built in some extra time because things do tend to go weird, particularly with the square bounds. It's the only time I've had any kind of delays with my printers when they're doing square bounds, which these will be. But otherwise, I expect this to be a really smooth, fast Kickstarter. So Far Out Junk says, just got quest #1. Really enjoyed the last battle. Keep making cool things. Well, thank you so much. As I've said before on some of my previous live streams, it takes a long time to make these, a lot of work and money, but it's just a lot of effort, and you're working for months and months and putting so much into it without having any idea what anyone's going to think. So I'm really glad that you liked it. Obviously I really enjoy making these things, or else I wouldn't be doing it. A lot of what I do is because I think this stuff will be cool, and it's what I want to be reading. So I'm hoping people like it, but I really appreciate getting feedback from people, and I'm really happy that you liked it. particularly since quest number 2 is going to be coming out really soon. In fact, let me show you something here. Let me just stop that screen. This Crimebusters Volume 1 Kickstarter is going to be one of my shortest Kickstarters. It's only going to be running for just over 2 weeks. It's going to end on the 29th of September. And part of the reason for the shorter window is because I'm working really hard on quest number 2, and I need to get that out as soon as I can. So I'm going to try and show you a little sneak peek of quest number 2. It's just going to take me a second because, of course, it is. Technology is always a mess. All right, let me try this here. I'm not that smooth with this stuff, as you can see, but here it is. So I'm really excited to say that I now have just gotten the pre-launch page live for quest number 2. So here's the pre-launch page. I'll share the link here in the chat if anyone wants to hit the notify me on launch button to follow along so you don't miss anything. But I'm hoping to launch quest number 2 in mid or late October. My target date is going to be Monday, October 16, but it might be a week after that. It might be the 23rd. But just today, for instance, I got the color sent me the colored pages for quest number 2 this morning. I also got the first draft of the game supplement material for the RPG edition of quest number 2 is just sent to me by my dungeon master this morning as well. So quest number 2 is coming together really fast here. So I'm hoping to have quest number 2 launched end of October, and really excited to get that out. I haven't really started sharing this link with everybody until just tonight. But if anyone's interested, there's that. So yeah, just have a lot of stuff going on. But so it's just like a lot of work. But it's like so gratifying to just make these comics and everything. And I'm really excited. My goal next year is to put out both of these titles regularly. So to give you an update on Crimebusters, my artist Mac Radwanski, who drew issue 5 of Crimebusters, he's currently working on issue 6, and it's going to be 36 pages, just like all of the issues of Crimebusters. They're extra long, but issue 6, we've got, I think, 20 of those 36 pages are done. So we're more than halfway done with issue 6 with the art. My goal for that, I'm not 100% sure on this, but we're hoping to have Crimebuster 6 launched at the end of January, and then optimally we'll be going back and forth. So it'll be like Crimebuster 6, Quest 3, hopefully Crimebuster 7, and then Quest 4, etc. And I've got a couple other things coming up. I've got a romance comic that I'm going to be putting out next year. I have all the art done for it. The line work, I need to get it colored and add the lettering, so it's still ways off, but sometime next spring, in between those other releases, hopefully I'll have time to put out this romance comic, but which is going to be like an old school romance comic from like the 60s or 50s. So it's self-contained anthology stories. So it's going to be 24 or 26 pages. I'm not quite sure exactly. And it's going to have like 3 or 4 short stories that are all self-contained and wrapped up. It's not going to be like an ongoing thing. It'll be like a one shot. But that's just some of the stuff that I'm working on. And I'm really excited to be, we're getting really close to being done with the Crimebusters 6. So pretty soon I'm going to be starting work on the script for Crimebusters 7 as well. And anyone who may have read Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam, if you haven't read Crimebusters, this is the perfect time to jump on board. Crimebusters takes place in the same universe as Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam, but it's 12 years later because they're in 1957 now. And but Granny Gumshoe is in issues 3, and she's in some of the backup stories in some of the other issues as well. But in issue 6, Uncle Sam is going to be one of the main characters in Crimebusters 6. So this is a great time to get the trade and catch up on the first 5 issues before Uncle Sam shows up, and Granny's going to be having a more prominent role sort of in the background through all of these. She's in the end of issue 5, and she's going to be in the backup story in issue 6. And we're going to see a lot of her a little bit later on. See a lot of her in issue 10, but and Uncle Sam again is going to be a lot of issue 6. So if you have read Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam and you haven't read Crimebusters, this is a good time to sort of jump on board, because this going to be bringing in more and more stuff from Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam into Crimebusters starting now and sort of going forward. Issue 5 had a lot of stuff in it as well. So yeah, so anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Any questions about anything? It doesn't have to be about this Kickstarter. It doesn't necessarily even have to be about the comics I'm making. But we've got about 28 minutes left here on the launch party. And while you're thinking of your questions, I did have something I wanted to mention as well, and I'm trying to find a good visual aid. Let me see if I can. Hold on. I'm going to set down my headset for a minute because I know right where it is. Visual aid. Hold on. Coming up. Okay. Just wanted to mention another Kickstarter that's live right now. I should show you their Kickstarter page. That would probably be smart as well. But I'm having so many technological issues that I shouldn't probably mess with it. Stephen Tranter says, am I saying that right? Is it Stephen or is it Stefan or is it Stefan? But yes, says Cthulhu. Well, funny you should mention that, because there is a lot of Cthulhu. In fact, I'm holding some Cthulhu in my hand, which is a terrible idea in general. But I just wanted to mention Miskatonic High. Okay, so it is Stephen. Well, I'm glad I got that right then. So I've mentioned this a number of times before. I've showed off issues of this, but Miskatonic High, this is issue 19, which I just got in the mail a week or two ago. And it's very similar in concept to the Crimebusters in a lot of ways. It's it takes place at a school. Theirs is a high school, and Crimebusters are at college. But it's a group of students who get involved in supernatural mysteries and adventures with a Cthulhu, like a Lovecraftian tinge to them, and have to sort of navigate their way through those adventures. So it shares a lot of DNA with the Crimebusters, and so I'm a big fan. I've had Mike on my YouTube channel before and talked to him, and issue 20 is currently live. So there's a week left on the Kickstarter for Miskatonic High number 20. And they're a big inspiration. Mike and Ryan Mendoza, the artist, a big inspiration for me, because they put out like 5 issues a year. It hasn't even been 5 years since it started. And issue 20, they've Kickstarted. All 20 issues are through Kickstarter, right? And so like it's great, not just the stories and the art, but just the sort of like the professionalism and the reliability. Like that's all stuff that I'm trying to embrace in my stuff. Like that's why I want to get the Crimebusters issues out regularly. Hopefully we'll do 3 next year. The Quest, hopefully we'll get out at least 3 next year. There may be more than 3. The quest is coming together pretty fast right now. And so I just want to like get those on a really regular schedule. And, we maybe, best case scenario, 2025, I may have trade collections for both Quest and Crimebusters coming out both in 2025, if we can keep things going the way I'm hoping. But if you haven't checked out Miskatonic number 20, coming out soon. I don't have all of the issues. I had a couple of the really early ones, and my buying habits have typically been, when I have a project live, I back all these books. And then in between my projects, I'm so busy working on stuff that I usually am not on Kickstarter. So I missed a few. Now that I'm on Kickstarter seemingly all the time with the project, I've been able to keep up with them more, and I've started buying the back issues. They have a thing in the add-on where you can just add on a back issue and just tell them which one you want. So I'm filling in the gaps. I think I have issues 1 and 2 and issue 5, and then I have, I think, issues 14 up. But this most recent time I've started filling in some of those ones like 3 and 4 that I'm missing. So Stephen Tranter says, that's how I found you. I really appreciate that. I know, Mike and I, we did a little bit of a cross promotion when I had Cthulhu vs. Uncle Sam number 2 out, and maybe we'll do some more in the future in terms of we had a special print that you could get if you back both of those books that had the characters from both. And yeah. It would be awesome if at some point we could do like a story with the Crimebusters crossing over Miskatonic. I haven't talked to Mike about that, so I shouldn't say anything really. So I don't want you to think that's going to happen. That's just me as a fan thinking that would be really fun. But honestly, I want to get Crimebusters up to a higher level in terms of getting it out faster and building up more of a base, because he has so many fans that right now I feel like he brings a lot more to the table than I would in terms of just the backing and stuff. So that's something, again, I haven't talked to Mike about that, because I would be another couple years, I think, before I feel like I've built up to the point where I would feel comfortable even broaching that. But it would be really cool on a character level. When I'm reading these Miskatonic High stories, I'm like, yeah, it'd be really cool if Trixie met this character or whatever. But anyway, let's take a look over here at the how we're doing on the Kickstarter, if I can figure out how to do that again. There we are. Yeah. So we've got a couple more backers up to $962, which is awesome. 24 backers. Really appreciate all the support, everybody. Like it's I say this every time, but it's humbling, and I feel so grateful for everybody's support. The goal here is 2,900, and that should just about cover the printing and the shipping of everything. Probably wouldn't cover the cost of the coloring, but it's just such a cool thing that I really want to have exist. And I do have some cool and like some real stretch goals in mind. Sometimes I'm struggling to be like, what cool thing could I add? But in this case, I know exactly what we're going to add. If we get to the point where we've hit our goal, then I'm going to want to add on actually like 25 or more bonus pages of stuff, so we can get a variant cover gallery in the back of the trade that has all the couple dozen variant covers from Crimebusters that I've done. But there's so many that it's going to add hundreds of dollars to the printing costs. So that's something where I'll need to do as a stretch goal, but we'll see. Like last issue of Crimebusters, we had 121 backers, and which was way more than I expected. And I'm still not quite sure how it happened, but I feel super grateful for it. So this time around, if we can get to 100, we'll blow this goal out of the water. So I'm going to keep working hard at my end to try and get people and stuff. So yeah. Kyle asks, do you still get the same excitement and nervous joy from seeing the publication of each ensuing issue from the initial launch? Has it waned, or is it growing with each project? I still get excited when the comic comes in. like from the printer, and like it's a physical thing that actually exists that didn't used to exist, that's when I really get excited. There's other parts of the process that are fun, like when when I figured out the story, when I'm writing the story, that's fun. When I get the pages from the artists or the cool variant covers, that's always fun. Um, I love going to shows. It's just physically with my health issues, I can't really do very many, but I like most of the stuff about it is fun. The only thing that's not fun, to be honest, is running the Kickstarters. That's extremely stressful and a ton of work. Um, Running the Kickstarters is really stressful, just like hours every day, just sharing links and like on all different sites and talking to people and answering emails and trying to get the word out to get just like one more backer. And hoping that we'll get enough to actually, not even make money, but just not lose money. Oh, I just sneezed so hard I blew my headset right off. But anyway, so the Kickstarter is very stressful, but I still get really excited every time I get the comics in hand. Um, it's a little bit tough as the creator because there's always things, particularly since, well, there's always things where you're like, that didn't quite look the way that I had in my head. When I was drawing it myself, it's because I wasn't a good enough artist to draw what I had in my head. Now that I'm working with other artists, like they interpret my stories in their own way, and sometimes it comes out exactly like I had in mind. Sometimes it's better than what I had in mind, and then other times I'm like, that didn't quite do what I wanted. But it's always exciting to get the new stuff. Stuff with quests, like trying new things are always cool. With quest number 1, I did the metal covers for the first time, and didn't sell nearly as many as I was hoping, but I was really happy with the printer. And they were really cool. They were really neat. I've never even had a metal cover, so I've seen pictures of them, but I've never had one. So that was really cool. So like it was just cool to try something new. I did a foil cover that didn't really turn out the way I had intended. It looks cool, but it just wasn't what I had in my head. So I don't know if I'll do a foil again. There wasn't much demand for that either. The metal cover I'll be doing again though, mainly just because I think they're neat. But this time around, like this is my first trade. So I'm learning about the trade. There's some technical details with preparing the PDF, like figuring out when you're making the cover, what the width of the spine is going to be. There's a lot of math you have to do with the ratio of how many pages are in the book means, how many millimeters wide it is. So like, that's all a learning curve. But it's cool doing the new products. Sometimes they just don't turn out the way I expect or wanted, but other times, it's cool and it's just interesting to learn. So, I mean, overall, like I still love doing it. I love making the comics more than ever. I would say the only thing is like I don't really love doing the Kickstarters themselves just because they're so much work and so stressful. And if I didn't have an actual job, it would be a lot easier to do. Like if the comics were my full-time job, then spending, 3 hours a day, every day during, for 6 months of the year on these Kickstarter launches, wouldn't be nearly as big a deal because that would be part of my workflow, as opposed to after I finish work for the day, then I spend the whole evening also working. I sound like I'm complaining. I'm not complaining because it's great that Kickstarter has allowed me to meet all of you and get the comics out to people, and it's enabled me to be able to make the comics. So I love it, but it's really hard work. So that's the only part that can be a drag. I literally spent the entire day just working on promotion for like sending out newsletters and emails and answering questions. And like, I haven't even gotten to some things. I haven't done Instagram a lot of the channels that I go to, but like just copying and pasting and rewriting things, links. I started at 10:15 and I still haven't finished. There's stuff that I'm going to be doing after this live stream. So it's just a ton of work the entire day working on it. So it's all going to be worth it when I get that trade at the end though. So that was a super long answer. Oh, look, it's Brookie Monster. It's my wonderful wife. Hello. I suppose probably no, there she is. Hello. Okay, and now back off the screen. Yeah, so you can see what we're doing here. We got 24 backers still, $962. It's great. We're right at about 1/3 funded, so we're about 33%, which is great for the first day. 24 backers is really good. My goal in my head for today was to hit 30 backers, and we do still have 3 hours or whatever today. I launched at 10:15 in the morning, so for the first 24 hours we still have quite a bit. It's just people will be sleeping through a lot of those. Let's see. Far Out Junk says, are you on any social media we can follow? I find a lot of comics on Instagram, weirdly enough. Well, I am on Instagram, although I rarely post. I'm going to be posting in the next day or two. Instagram, I used to really like Instagram, but they've made it really difficult for creators like me because they throttle everything so much. So like I have 670 followers, and when I do a post on Instagram, only about 5% of those people see it. So normally I only have like 35 or 40 people that it actually gets sent to. And then I have to pay Instagram to actually send it to everybody. So because of that, it's a channel that I just don't use a lot because it's investing a lot of my time and not a lot of return, just because of, again, how they're sort of choking it. But I do post there occasionally, so let me give you that. Here we are. So here's my Instagram. And then the main thing I do is on YouTube, which is where this live stream is taking place, of course. But if you're not familiar with my channel, let me give you I think you are, but let me just I did share this live stream with my Kickstarter backers and with my mailing list. So there are people I think on here who aren't familiar with my YouTube channel. So let me just share the link to that as well, because I do post 2 videos a week. This week it'll be 3 on my YouTube channel. Most of the time I'm talking about back issues. I've got, I don't know, I guess I have about 8,500 back issues in the room here with me. So I'm constantly getting new stuff in. I'm going to be selling off a bunch of stuff. I have another round of downsizing I'm about to do this winter. I've started separating things, what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to get rid of. And it's partially because I just have too much stuff. Partially because I'm still having issues with too much mustiness because of the old comics, but also there's stuff I don't necessarily need, or haven't reread in 30 years. And so I'm going to sell that and use the money to help me make more comics. Making comics is, I love getting the back issue still, but I also love the making. So I'm figuring out where that balance is. You're going to be seeing some videos over the next few months of me downsizing more, showing off some of my complete runs just before I sell them, that sort of thing. But thanks for the question. I'm not on Twitter. I actually, you know what? I do have a Facebook account that I only use for comics. I don't have, it's like strictly business. I mean, it's literally strictly business because, I actually deleted my, Kickstarter, I deleted my Facebook account. I'm not actually sure how to get a link to my Facebook account. I've never tried it. Anyway, I deleted my personal Facebook account, and then I had to, there's things I had to look at on Facebook for my job, and so I had to create a new account for work. And so I've used that just for comics. I only have people. My friends list is 100% comic people. Nobody that I actually know in real life. But I don't know how to actually share the link with that. Let me see if I can figure that out, so I can share it with you. Yeah. All right, hold on a second. I'm doing my best here, but technology is just not helping me today. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just can't figure out how to share my profile link. Every time I try, it's asking me to log in, and I don't actually know what it's linking to. So, but there's my Instagram and my YouTube. I don't do Twitter or X or whatever it's called. I have a TikTok account, but I don't use it for anything. I tried doing some videos about comics on there to see what would happen, and the answer was nobody watched any of them. So I gave up on that as well. So we got about 10 minutes left on the live stream party. Again, I want to thank everyone for watching and for the support. I really appreciate it. And if anyone has any questions, there's another Kickstarter let me see if I can share another Kickstarter with you. Kickstarter being very strange about not showing me the search bar. All right, let me switch over here. I just wanted to mention this Black Ball number 1 through 4. Mainly, it's like a mystical thing. Like it says, Magic and Murder in the 1920s. MJ Massey is the creator, and she also launched today. And she's part of a group. There's a group of us called the Comics Launch. It's all indie comic creators who use Kickstarter mostly, and we sort of support each other. So we launched at the same time, and she has a live stream going on now as well. She had invited me to join it, but because I already had this one, I wasn't able to. We had them at the same time, so we had competing live streams. But I don't want it to be a competition, so I wanted to share her project here so you can all see that. And then while I'm doing that, let me see if I can also find Miskatonic High 20, since I was talking about it earlier. Here it is. So here's issue 20 of Miskatonic High. As you can see, they're killing it. 335 backers. And that's running for another week. So, which I think I mentioned this, but just in case I didn't, I think I did. But the Crimebusters Volume 1 Kickstarter is going to be a lot shorter than most of my Kickstarters. Usually I run for a full 30 days. But that's going to be changing because I have so many comics that are in various stages of production. I'm going to have so many Kickstarters I need to do to get those comics out to everyone that I can't afford to run the Kickstarters that long. I need them to be shorter just so I can get out more stuff. So this Kickstarter is going to end on the 29th, September 29th. I think it ends at 9:00. There'll be another live stream So Friday the 29th at 8. And that's going to be a really busy weekend for me because I'm going to be at MICE on the following 2 days. So on the 30th and October 1st, Massachusetts Independent Comics Expo, which is one of the biggest indie comics conventions in the country. I finally, after 5 years, was able to get a table there. Sorry to hear that, Kyle. Thanks very much for joining me. Good luck with everything. And again, I'll have another live stream, so I hope everything is okay and goes well. And I'll be back in 16 days with another live stream at the end of the campaign. And then again, we'll have the campaign for quest number 2 will be in October. And then next year, I don't know exactly how many campaigns or comics we'll be able to put out, but I'm hoping to put out at least 6, but it might be more. The other one that I'm working on in the background right now is the Granny Gumshoe 100-page special. So Granny's a character that everyone really seems to love from both Crimebusters and Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam. And I'm obviously a big fan of the character because I keep using her and everything. But what I want to do with the 100-page special is similar to the Crimebuster 100-page giant. It's going to be a reprint of her Golden Age stories, but she only appeared in 14 issues, and her stories were all between 4 and 6 pages. So actually, the Granny Gumshoe 100-page giant is going to have it's going to have her complete story. All of her appearances prior to me using the character will all be reprinted. All 14 Golden Age stories. And what I'm going to do is, she didn't appear on the cover of any of the 14 issues that she appeared in. So I'm going to draw a new Granny Gumshoe cover for all 14 of her stories. So that's basically going to be, and there's going to be a couple other bonus things as well. Right now I want to digitally remaster those. The files that you can read those online for free are just not high enough quality for printing. They're pixelated or whatever. So I'm actually in the process of buying all 14 issues of the Golden Age series National Comics that she appeared in. So I could scan my own copies and then digitally remaster them myself from my own scans. So it's going to be super high res. And I'm only missing 1 issue. So I'm only missing National Comics number 70. As soon as I get that, we're going to work on that. And so I'm hoping to have that out next year as well, besides everything else. So let me just end this by looking at the Kickstarter one more time. I just need to call up the page again. And it looks like the timing is perfect because we just hit a big milestone here. Yeah, we just got our 25th backer, and that put us right over $1,000, 1,001. So thank you. Thank you so much, backer number 25, whoever you are. Thank you, all of you, for your support and for coming to support me on the live stream as well, because there's a lot of live streams in the past where I used to just have nobody show up and I'd just be talking to myself for the replay. So the last couple, I've had a lot more people coming, and I really appreciate you keeping me company. And we do have a question coming from Brookie Monster. Question. Let me show that. Publishing the Crimebusters trade is a benchmark in your comic creation journey. It caps off the Crimebuster comic universe phase 1. Yes, it does. How does that feel? Well, it's fantastic. When I get it back from the printer in particular, that's when it's really going to be like, there's going to be a book, that if we can get those bonus pages for the cover gallery, it's going to be over 200-page, really thick trade book that we can put on the bookshelf. That's going to be my stuff. So It's fantastic. And being able to get to the point where I have trades, and just from like a business standpoint and a progression standpoint, is fantastic. But the main thing is, like, everything I do, it's just going to be so cool to own it. So I want to make it for myself, and other people hopefully seem to be liking it. So as well, which is awesome. But it's going to be, I still have a little bit of work left. My wife here sees how much work this stuff is, but once I can get that to the printer and get it back from the printer and have it in my hand, it's going to be fantastic. So, yeah, and I've got a bunch of really cool stuff planned for next year for the 5th anniversary of Crimebuster Comics that I haven't even gotten into yet. I mentioned it in a previous live stream, but maybe I'll talk about that next time, because I think people, particularly old school comic fans, are really going to dig it. So I think we're about ready to wrap up and end this. Anyone have any final questions before we shut down this party? It's like we're in a speakeasy and the feds just smashed through the door, and now they're hitting the barrels of booze with big axes. The party is about to be broken up. It's going to continue on the Kickstarter itself, though, for the next 16 days. It's only this live stream that's going to end. The party will continue on the Kickstarter. Any questions or comments before we go? I'm going to give it a couple more seconds in case someone's typing out a really big question. But otherwise, I think we're done. And I want to thank everybody again for joining me. And I'll be back here on the 29th with another live stream. So thanks very much, and I'll see everyone then. Thank you so much for the support.